Charlie Chaplin. I mean, you know the look, right? The bowler hat, the cane, that iconic walk of the tramp. He is an absolute legend of the silver screen.
You definitely know the comedian. This is the man who made the entire world laugh, often without saying a single word.
But here's the thing. Underneath all that slapstick, Chaplin was one of the sharpest and most fearless social critics of his time. So today, we're going to peel back that layer of comedy to find the powerful critique that's been hiding in plain sight all along.
So how are we going to do that? How do we unlock that deeper meaning? Well, the key is a really cool technique called frame study.
Think of it like this. Every single shot, every frame of his films, it isn't just a picture. It's like a dense little package of information. It holds everything, the movie's themes, the social reality of the time, and what the artist, in this case Chaplin, was really trying to say.
And this is why it's such a game changer for understanding Chaplin. Frame study lets us see exactly how he wove his critiques of society right into the visual gags. It literally turns what looks like simple, silly comedy into a really profound statement about the world.
Okay, let's put this technique into practice. We're going to start with his 1936 masterpiece, Modern Times, which is just this blistering critique of industrial capitalism made right in the middle of the Great Depression.
So, the film's opening shot is one of the most famous in all of cinema. First, we see a herd of sheep all crammed together. And then that image dissolves into a crowd of factory workers pouring out of a subway. With just that one visual, Chaplin's message is immediate and blunt. This modern system has reduced human beings to livestock.
And once we're inside the factory, that feeling of dehumanization just gets more and more intense. We see the tramp frantically tightening bolts on an assembly line, his whole body just contorting into this mechanical rhythm. He's not really a person anymore, he's just another part of the machine, a cog, all in the name of efficiency. And you know what? There's absolutely no escape. In this one brilliant scene, the tramp sneaks off to the bathroom for a smoke break. And suddenly this giant screen flickers on, and it's the face of the factory boss yelling at him to get back to work. Privacy? It's just an illusion. The surveillance is total, which, you have to admit, feels incredibly relevant today.
But the critique reaches its peak in this unforgettable sequence where the tramp is literally pulled into the massive gears of the factory machine. The whole frame becomes this surreal, hilarious, and kind of terrifying image. It's the perfect visual metaphor for alienation. The worker doesn't just operate the machine ends up consuming the worker.
And this is where it gets really interesting, this paradox Chaplin sets up. See, after the tramp gets arrested, he finds that prison is actually a relief. Compared to the chaos and anxiety of the factory, prison has order, it has predictability. He's guaranteed food and shelter, things he couldn't count on in the so-called free world. It's just this stunning critique of a system where freedom can mean constant insecurity.
But the film doesn't end on a note of despair. It closes with the tramp and his companion, the gamin, just walking down an open road into the horizon. They have nothing, their future's a total question mark, but they have each other. And that's Chaplin's final message here, a deeply humanist one. Dignity and human connection are so much more important than anything the machine can offer.
Okay, so fast forward 4 years. The world is now on the brink of a massive war, and Chaplin turns his critical eye from the economic machine to the political one in his film The Great Dictator.
So here, Chaplin takes on the absolutely monumental task of satirizing Adolf Hitler. And he does it with this brilliant cinematic trick. He plays two different roles. He's both Adenoid Heinkel, the absurd and brutal dictator, and a humble Jewish barber who represents the everyday humanity that tyranny is trying to crush. Whenever Heinkel gives a speech, it has nothing to do with logic or substance. It's pure spectacle. He's just spewing this aggressive, nonsensical gibberish, using these violent gestures and crazy expressions. Chaplin is perfectly parodying how fascist leaders used raw emotion and theatrics, not reason, to control the masses. You see the dictator's ego on full display in the iconic globe scene. Hinkle does this ballet-like dance with an inflatable globe, treating the world like it's his personal toy. It's this graceful, almost beautiful performance that perfectly captures the narcissistic fantasy driving his ambition. And then the globe bursts, and the whole illusion of power just shatters. In that moment, dictatorship is exposed as nothing but a fragile, childish dream. But this movie isn't just satire. Chaplin does something incredibly courageous. He shifts the tone to show us the real human cost of fascism.
He gives us these scenes of life in the Jewish ghetto, and he captures this quiet fear and the constant threat of violence. It's in these moments that the comedy falls away, and we're left with a serious, heartbreaking reality.
So when you put these two incredible films side by side, you start to see a really powerful and consistent worldview. Chaplin's target wasn't just capitalism one day and fascism the next. It was any system, any ideology that tries to crush the individual human spirit.
Just look at the parallel here. It's so clear. In modern times, the machine is the factory, the enemy, industrial capitalism, and the core message is about dehumanization for the sake of efficiency. Then, in The Great Dictator, the machine becomes the state itself. The enemy is fascism, and the message, dehumanization for the sake of absolute power.
You see? The context changes, but the core message is exactly the same. Chaplin's lifelong artistic battle was against any force, whether it was economic or political, that tries to reduce human beings to nothing more than cogs in a giant machine.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Chaplin used his art, his comedy, to critique the dominant machines of his day. So, if he were making films right now, what would he take aim at? What modern systems, technological, political, social, are turning us into cogs? And how would he use that incredible wit to warn us about them?